Hey, sis. Welcome to Now Woman Rising, the podcast for purpose-driven, faith-filled, family-shifting, legacy-making women who is done playing small. I'm Alicia Hurt, servant leader, wife, mama, and your holistic wellness home girl. Here to walk with you as you rise, heal, break cycles, and shine unapologetically in your God-given purpose. Whether you're trailblazing in your business, praying over your babies, or just trying to drink your water and mind your business, we see you, sis. Here's the truth. You are not alone. This space is sacred and safe. So grab your tea, light your candle, and let's get into this soul talk. Let's rise, let's glow, let's go. Hello, everyone. It's Alicia Hurt here, your servant leader. I am here for another episode of Now Women Rising at the Women's Wellness Center. And you'll probably see some kids running behind me. It's okay. Don't be alarmed. I have another phenomenal guest today, and I'm just going to turn it over. Tell us who you are, where you are, and what brought you to this journey.
I love it. Hey, everybody, I'm Vitelle, and I'm loving the authenticity of the kids running behind. Hey, I love it. Gotta get it in where you fit in the mama's rule. I love it. But yes, I am Vitelle, actress, model, entertainer, author, founder of Us3 Productions. I am right now headed to Bowling Green, Kentucky. I'm on the road at the moment for a 9 Lives World Tour. If you guys haven't heard of it, this is it, the 9 Lives World Tour. We're on the grand finale show of that, and it's coming to a close. And so I'm on the road right now, headed to Bowling Green, Kentucky.
Wow, you're literally on the road. Like, I appreciate your time. So I'm not going to keep you long. What moment in your life made you realize you were called to break generational patterns?
Absolutely. So, I don't think there was ever a moment specifically. I feel like it's just a constant reminder. I like to say, life is a journey, not a destination, right? So, on this healing journey in life, it is a constant reminder. You're never really healed. I don't feel like you ever really arrive or have, we have multiple epiphany moments throughout life. So there was no real moment because I've kind of always known this, and it's kind of just grown as I continue to walk in my destiny and my passion and my purpose. Then God's just constantly reminding me that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So my show is all about breaking generational curses. Everything that I do with my production company is that's what it's about. It's for the next generation. It's about tackling the topics that people don't like to talk about, but everybody deals with. It's all of our projects are very relatable and understanding our purpose and what we're here for. And that's what I walk in every day.
Amen. So, did anything shift in your spirit? Like when you said, you know what? Yes, I'm just going to answer to this calling.
Mhm. Like I said, there was a lot of shifts, but I can point out a few in particular just to give you ideas. So, because I know that during this tour, we have gone to many different cities. So, we've been in Orlando, Birmingham, Raleigh, Atlanta, Washington, Houston, Nashville, and Boston, and now ending in Kentucky. And I know something happened in Washington, D.C. that definitely shifted. I was already there. I was already walking in my purpose, already knew, but then, sometimes things just happen where you're like, okay, if I didn't know, now I know, no, like it was different. And the best way I can describe it is an encounter with God. Me and my team experienced it. I felt like these are the 12 disciples. They're the witnesses. They're the ones who are going to help, to back this up and to share this experience with the world. And so more information on that is definitely coming soon, but it was one of those moments where I had absolutely no doubt. I feel like that was a huge shift. I feel like my interviews since then, everything that I've done since then has changed. Like I went somewhere and I came back with so much more power physically, like in the flesh realm, that like there's no doubt in my mind at this point. There's no stopping me. There's no like I am invincible at this point when it comes to my purpose on this earth. Like I know without a shadow of a doubt that God has sent me. He's walking with me every step of the way and can't nothing touch him, right? So I just came back with that type of power and energy from Washington. And then it got even more extreme when I hit Boston. It's very interesting how the states that are up in that area are the ones that we end up having the most supernatural experience in. But those experiences are those moments that really make me realize, like, wow, it's no turning back now. Like you cannot convince me. You have no proof that could possibly convince me that this isn't God. Like it's very, very clear now.
Amen. So I'm jumping down because this question is relevant to what you just said.
Mm.
What does being a now woman mean to you in this season of your life?
Ooh, being a now woman? Okay.
Yes.
I've been asked that before. A now woman, listen, the urgency that was placed on me, like I said, with that experience in Washington and then again with Boston, like there was such an urgency that I have to do it now. Like I feel like one of the issues that I talk about a lot is how we often wait until we feel like we have enough money, we have enough support, we have a big enough fan base and all of these things. Like we have these visions and these dreams in us that we wait for. And it's like, what are we waiting for? Like the time is now. It's time to start now. And if God has put it on your heart now, and if he's called you to it now, he's not expecting you to wait for anything. He would have waited to call you to it if that's the
Right.
case. So it's about us showing up right now with what we have, because we in our flesh feel like we don't have enough or we need more before we can do this big picture, because sometimes God's showing us the big picture and in reality we're like, but I don't have, we doubt ourselves. So just trusting and knowing that God's called you to something right now and not waiting for that perfect moment. Like start doing it, start implementing, start small, start wherever you're at with what you have in your hands right now. And then God's going to continue to provide and build and grow off of that. So that's what being a now woman means to me, is like, I'm not waiting for nothing. I'm showing up right now because this is when God called me. So now is the time. There is an urgency. We are definitely living in the end times. It's time to really show up in our purpose and the reason that we're here. And life is too short to be sitting here waiting for the perfect moment. It's time to start now.
So tell me, how is she different from who she used to be?
Ooh, girl. That's a whole long whew, man. It's a lot of changes that have taken place in me, but I would, if just to focus on one particular area, I would say just the confidence. Like I said, I know who sent me. I know who I'm representing and where I'm going and what I'm doing this for. So I don't allow whatever people think or say or feel about me or rumors or anything else to possibly interfere with what I got going on here, because it's too important and my confidence is next level, because it's not just me, so yeah, I think the confidence is definitely not at all what it used to be. In fact, I talk about it in my show 9 Lives. I talk about my lack of confidence in the past and how I dealt with self-esteem issues and things of that nature. And so, none of that is the same anymore. That's all out the window at this point. So that's a huge change for me.
Amen. So tell me, what lie did you have to unlearn to fully walk in your purpose?
There's a lot of those too, and I guess it kind of falls hand in hand with it. But just there, I feel like the enemy's just constantly lying to us, especially when we have this big purpose, and it's like you always have these doubts that pop up, like you can't do it, you're not good enough, they're not gonna believe you, all of these things. So it's like you have to battle constant lies, and I dealt with something called imposter syndrome. I was trying to get the name of it there. So imposter syndrome is definitely a big thing. And then, we give titles to things, but it's all the same thing. It's the enemy in your head. He trying to get you to doubt yourself and trying to get you to stop what God has purposed you to do in this world. And so, call it imposter syndrome. That is definitely something that I've dealt with in the past, and just not even believing. Like even when you see it, they say you got to see to believe. But even sometimes when you see it, it's still hard to believe. For example, I have a show that I'm bringing back that I haven't done since before the pandemic. Now, before the pandemic, I'd done the show like 20 times. It was an amazing show. It was sold out most of the time. It was definitely growing and building, and my fan base has more than quadrupled since then. And so I'm ready to bring the show back again. But then you got these doubts that start popping up, like, and I'm like, wait a minute now, I got pictures and videos. Like, I've done this before. There's no reason for me to think that I can't do it again. But those are the lies that start coming up, like, oh, you're gonna need a lot more money this time. You're gonna need this and that. And it's just like you got to constantly just be like a tennis player. You got this tennis racket and you just bam, 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 just knocking just knocking these lies as they come.
That's right. So tell me about a season where God's weight felt like absolutely not. You're not going to do it. And what did you learn in that in between phase?
I love your questions. First of all, let me say that, like, you prepared. I love this. These questions are just all right up my alley. Is what definitely needs to be said right now. Let me tell you something. Y'all see this show, Nine Lives? I've been on a world tour since January. And before I actually started on the world tour, I was like, no, thank you. Get somebody else to do it. That was my immediate response, what you just described there when that vision. So this happened during the pandemic, that God put this particular calling on me. And I'm like, no, why would I do that? Why would I do a one-woman show? But it was like, I knew I was supposed to do the show. I didn't know it was a one-woman show at first. But when the pandemic happened and the world shut down, was right after I published my first book. So I'm like already in the process of turning this book into a show. And now I can't hire actors. I can't get a crew. I can't do any of the stuff that I was planning on doing with this book. But God was like, yes, you can. You can do it all yourself because you a one-woman show. So not only did I play all these 9 different characters, but then I was the videographer, I was the makeup artist, I was wardrobe, I was like the whole crew behind the scenes too. And I did it, reluctantly, because I didn't it like, I saw the bigger picture of where the show is going and even where it's gotten to now. Like, we saw this years ago. And so, to see that, and it was very intimidating. It was like, "Oh God, that is too big for me. I don't want that." Like, that's almost like asking me to sign up for being a president. I don't want to be the president. Like, y'all can have that. Get somebody else to do that. But we ain't going to go there. But yeah, I can't do that. No. But, if God calls you to it, I say it all the time. If he calls you to it, he will see you through it. He will make a way for it to happen. And so you just got to trust him. So sometimes that does happen reluctantly. Sometimes we do be in our flesh and be doubting what he's called us to do. But if you think about it, so did every single person in the Bible that God ever called to do something.
That's
They
right.
at first, they doubted it. They was like, huh? You want me? What? Get them, won't they do it? Like, so it's perfectly normal to be that way. We're human beings made in his image. He knows, he understands. But once you start walking in it, it starts to fall into place. And that's where we're at now. But it did not start off that way. It was definitely a lot of doubt and a lot of, I don't want to do that.
So tell me, how do you balance being a powerhouse for others while still nurturing yourself?
Hmm. So between myself and my family, I thought that's where you was about to go with that too. Yeah, also a mama, for those who don't know. But yeah, that balance is something that I'm still working on daily. Just the basic necessities like sleeping and eating are something that my assistant has to remind me sometimes, because when I get focused and I'm on a mission, I'm like, I don't think about nothing else. And then suddenly my stomach's growling. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot to eat today. So just like remembering those basic necessities and having a team that knows that I get too focused sometimes and I need to be reminded, that helps too. But I have to be just very just mindful, and I have to set alarms throughout my day. I have to be I have to do, put sticky notes up. I have to do things that I know because I know myself. So I think the biggest thing is just knowing yourself. And if you know you're somebody who neglects yourself when you're on a mission, you got to set reminders. You got to make it happen, because if you're not taken care of, then there's going to be nobody here to complete the mission that you were called to do. So it is important. I take moments to step away after each show, even if it's just for a good 24 hours. I will disappear off of social media and everywhere just for a minute. And my favorite thing to do is go into the woods. So that's one of those strange things that a lot of people would not do that. But I like to pack a backpack and go disappear into the woods for a few days. And I'm like, send a search party if I don't return in 5. Okay. So that's one of my weird little things that I enjoy doing. I like to go backpacking by myself. Yep, me and the bears and the snakes. Oh my.
Have fun with that, sis. Like,
Right.
maybe, right. You got it.
I know
You
your
got
face
that.
said it all when I said that. But that's my like, I just to get down to my roots and like, just to be out in nature where we don't have like I get to forget I live in 2025 for a minute and just be aware everything that God created is like, the Garden of Eden. He created everything for us to live and survive. And we don't really need all this stuff. We just have the luxury of having these things. So I like to get back to that sometimes and be reminded. And it also makes me grateful for, running water and flushing toilets and things like that.
Yes. Yes, it does. So listen. That's your thing.
Right. No,
So I'm gonna go to the next question. Okay.
okay.
So was there ever a moment when you wanted to quit on yourself, your dream, or your assignment?
Lots of those moments too. Almost every day, I can say every other day at least. It is definitely a mere moments. The moments are shorter and less believable, meaning I think them still sometimes, but I know it's not going to happen because I'm going to keep going. But there is a lot of moments where it's exhausting and it's like, do I really have to do this? And that's where those lies come in again. Were you really called to do that? Or and you have to fight them. But it's in those moments that I do have to be again just being mindful and taking a moment, like recognizing that as a moment and thinking like, okay, I'm not going to quit. It's
Right.
not an option. But I'm going to pause for a moment and I'm going to, do something normal people do, like watch a movie or something, like just take a moment where I'm not stressing it and I just reset myself. That's what I do when those moments come up.
Amen. So how has your definition of success changed as you've grown in faith and purpose?
My definition of success. Oh, that is really good. Man, your questions are so well thought out. I love it. So success, I think, for most people when they're first starting out, has a lot to do with the amount of wealth that they have, and the ability that they have to do things in America, which requires money, and just the feeling of I've arrived, I'm finally there. This is the life that I dreamed of. So that has changed a lot because now I understand that you're never going to arrive. Like I'm there now. I was there from the very beginning. I just had to learn to embrace it. And it was all about mindset. So success has already happened. It's already occurred. I'm already there. I'm living it right now. Like my whole life from that point on is successful. And that's how that shift has happened and what that means when it comes to success. So the bank account will continue to grow. The following will continue to change. All of that stuff's going to keep happening. That doesn't determine my success. I'm living it right now. As soon as I decided this is what I'm doing, I arrived at success.
And you answered this, but maybe you have other examples or want to expound. Can you share a time when obedience to God didn't make sense, but changed everything?
Oh yeah, it's definitely this show is the theme of the it's the theme. I'm not even trying to like shameless plug on purpose or nothing. It just keeps coming like all your questions tie right into what we do. And so this show is what it's all about. Like honestly, I started off feeling like, oh gosh, that just hit my spirit real hard just now. I started off feeling like this is all about healing, it's all about breaking curses, it's all about the next generation. But for me, I feel like, the healing had taken place prior to doing this world tour and continues to happen. But for me, it was more about obedience than anything. For me, I feel like this whole experience has been a test of my obedience. Even all the way up to this last Boston show, sitting in the car about to drive 20 freaking hours to a state I had never been in. I didn't know where we were going to stay. I didn't like none of it made any sense. This whole tour has not made any sense. I did not have the funding for it. I didn't have the major sponsors. I didn't have any of the stuff when I started to do it. And I still had to be obedient. And throughout this whole thing, like the funding has come, the support has come, the vendors have come, the organizations have just rallied around people all across the world, even though, it's called the World Tour, and you notice that the cities are in the US, right? So virtually all across the world, we're interviewing with people in Africa and Costa Rica and Russia, even like places that I've never been. We're building in those places virtually before we even get there. And God is just definitely showing out with this. So I've had to continue to be obedient through every single show, because at any point in time I could have been like, you know what, I'm just going to cancel this one, which is where I was at with the Boston show. Honestly, it was very scary to go, that far out of my comfort zone, and not knowing what the provision was right then, and being able to see it for myself. It was like walking up an invisible staircase and expecting them to appear as I'm stepping on them. So I wanted to quit with that one, but I didn't. And I saw when I got there why the lies were so loud, and the feeling of, oh, I don't want to do this one, was so big, because that was one of the most powerful shows. The people that were there just really needed it. It resonated with them. There's some powerful people in Boston. You could just feel that energy returned, and the show was just next level because of that energy that audience shared with me. And it was a miracle. So that's the best way I can explain it. And that's what continues to happen. So I think the more we continue to be obedient, like these 9 shows was a test of my obedience, but that's not going to stop. I'm going to have to continue to be obedient for the rest of my life. So who knows how much bigger those tests will get, but it just gets easier to trust. And when you show up and see that God works it out, then it's like, okay, he did it before, he'll do it again. And
Amen. You just gave a whole sermon right there. Like, amen.
I
Let the
did.
church say amen. Let's close it. Let's do
I know.
benediction.
Let's take up the offering. No,
Yes.
when I feel it, I'm like, okay, this is for somebody. I don't know who this is for, but I got to say it. But I felt that in my spirit for sure.
Yes. So tell me, what legacy are you intentionally building for your family, as you can hear mine in the background, and future generations?
Absolutely. That's what it's all about. Like I said, when I first started off, that was just the main focus, and it's all about the next generation, and this is going to make things better for them. And, putting my business out there, that the things that I've struggled through, to make sure that my family doesn't have to struggle through that either. So, I mean, not just discussing, like with this particular show, we discuss all the topics that are necessary for people of the past generations to heal. And I think it's so important for the generations prior to heal, in order for the next generation to do better and to not have to go through those things. The generations before us were taught not to discuss these things that are happening in our households, not to, we're supposed to just sweep it under the rug. We're supposed to forget about it. And that's why so many predators and people who target our children and things like that are able to get away with these things, because they know that we were always taught to be quiet about it. That's, if you go back even further, that's why slavery happened, because we all had this mindset of this is what it's supposed to be like, and we're not supposed to fight back. Like, I feel like we're in a generation now where we are fighting back against all the wrongs that are being done in this world, the domestic violence that's happening, the human trafficking, and all the things that we talk about with this show, and that I'll continue to push for, to help to prevent them, because more of these predators are going to start to be like, you know what, I'm not going to take my chances, because she going to say something and she might make a whole movie about it, so that's it's protecting. What I'm doing now is protecting the future and helping them to speak out and not fall for so many things that we have that have imprisoned us in the past, and also setting my family personally up for financial success as well. Let's just face it, it's about that as well. So that's a big part of it, and I don't want any of my children to struggle financially like I did. I don't want them to have to fight as hard. So that's a big in the forefront of my mind. And like Beyonce said, my great grandchildren are already rich. So yes. Shout
Amen.
out to
That's my girl. Am I a beehive? I don't know. I guess I am.
No, listen. At this point, I don't think anybody's beehive anymore. We need to come up with a name for Blue and Roomy, because
That's right.
that's what it's all about. When you become a mama, don't nobody care about you no more.
Yes, it's so true.
Where's Blue and Roomy at? Get out her way.
That's it.
I'm just glad Beyonce come and be on her tour. That was nice of her.
And clearly he heard you, which she did not, but
Hey!
I mean, it's all about him. Say hello.
Yes, it is all about the kids. Hi, you are adorable.
And he knows it. That's the problem.
I know, right? I can take a little charmer.
So listen, if you could sit down with your younger self, what would you tell her about the woman she's becoming?
Man, the first thing that came to my mind is don't be scared, girl. Don't be scared. Like my younger self would definitely be very terrified of the woman I've become now and that I continue to become. So I would just say, embrace it. Don't be scared. Lean into that nervousness. Lean into that nervousness as you're feeling it and use that as your power. Because yeah, fear holds us back a lot. And fear has held me back and made me make the wrong turns because trying to stay in the comfort zone and things like that. So I would speak to that fear in me as my younger self. Absolutely.
Amen. So for that lady, that woman, that is like, oh my God, like I heard so much, but what do I take away? Could you give her some closing information? Stop, stop.
Hmm. Trying to say this right because I know this is probably the most important part of any interview, and whether it's for someone watching behind the scenes or someone watching the replay later, um, we are human beings in the flesh, and we're all, no matter what our religion is, our background, or anything like that, we are spiritual beings who are in this flesh. And so when we feel a calling to do something, it's so easy for us to be hesitant because we're looking at the flesh and we're looking at what we see in this physical realm. But I want to encourage somebody watching, and I'm trying to say it to where it makes the most sense to all levels of understanding spiritually, that there is definitely a spiritual realm, and that's the realm that your soul is on, your spirit man is on, and we have to all learn how to operate more in that, and kind of die to our flesh daily, to where we're not looking so much at the limitations that we have here, whether that be the time, the money, the fact that I got children, or anything that would cause us any doubt as to what God has called us to do. If we are here on this earth, then we are purposed to do something, and it's our job to tap into our spirit and find out what that is, to spend that quality time with our creator, trying to understand and know what it is that he wants us to do and walk in that every day. And the more we do that, the less these limitations, they're so irrelevant at that point, the more we move forward in that. So I just want to encourage anyone watching to spend time, just alone, getting to know what that means for you. And don't let these fleshly thoughts or fears determine what you decide to do, because at the end of the day, one thing we all have in common, no matter what our background is we can only go in the coffin by ourselves. It's going to end for all of us at some point in time, and we don't know when that time is. So make the most out of every single moment that you get on this earth, and just be a world changer and do it now. Like the show says, do it now. Don't wait.
Now, period. So now it's your opportunity. Please, I know you shared the flyer. If you want to put it back up and just tell us a little bit more about it, how they can connect with you and other things that you have coming up. I know you got more coming up.
Yes. So I'm not going to speak too much on the things coming up just because they're going to be a little ways out, and we're working behind the scenes to get some things locked in so we can make some official announcements. But I will tell you guys, the Nine Lives World Tour once again is closing out in Bowling Green, Kentucky on June 28th. This is our last and final show of the Nine Lives World Tour. After that, it's going to be in all the other countries. It ain't gonna be here in America. Okay, so y'all gonna miss it if y'all miss this one. So make sure you come out to the Nine Lives World Tour. It's a one-woman show all about helping people to heal from trauma. Make sure you guys follow us online and connect with us. A great way to connect with us to stay in the loop with all the details of any shows or any auditions or contests or giveaways, anything that we have going on at Us3 Productions. You can text us at 770-626-5075. Shoot us a text message and follow the prompts to subscribe to stay in the loop. You can also go to vitelle.net. That's V as in victory, ITELLE.net. Go to vitelle.net and subscribe there via email so you can stay in the loop with everything that we've got going on. And of course, follow us on all your social media platforms.
Thank you so much for your time. I wish you safe travels because you just all over in these streets, okay? But you're
Right.
doing what thus said the Lord, so I know that you'll be good. Okay, and I just enjoyed our time together. You guys, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Now Women Rising. Until next time, see you guys.
Thank you.
Woo! Yes, Lord. That was so good. Sis, if nobody told you today, let me be the first. You are chosen, you are covered, and you are called for such a time as this. Keep standing tall, walking bold, and staying surrendered. Don't forget to subscribe. Share this episode with your sister circle and leave a review so we can keep spreading the word for this kingdom vibe. Until next time, this is Alicia Hurt reminding you, you are not alone and you were never meant to be. Now, woman, rise up and let's go.